before I start with Grasshopper, which is like, as you can see here, Grasshopper is like a plugin inside Rhino, and all this is the Grasshopper panel. All of the work that we will do inside Grasshopper will be like inside or like be shown in this Rhino. So it's good to like maybe at least have 1 hour to explore what Rhino is, and like so
it's necessary.
It's again, even if you like you're not using it with Rhino, because it's a CAD program, it really helps with a lot of things. I'm going to explain some like like the interface of the program, what we are seeing now, and then we will start with the tools, like the commands that you create objects with. So after I get like a general overview, we'll get there.
Okay.
So like basically the main how can I say, like the logic of dealing with objects is about like similar to AutoCAD, like how AutoCAD software works with objects. So let me start with the basic properties or like features of this Rhino. So because it's a CAD, it has its coordinate system. So you can see here, before that we have like these 4 views. Now I'm looking at the top view from here, and 2 side views like front and right, and 1 perspective view. So yeah, the program has its own coordinate system. So the origin is like 0, 0, and you have X, Y, and Z for the upper or vertical direction, and it works with a very, very precise value. So for example, if I want to place something, for example, I took this line command here, and however I try to put my point on the 0, I will never be able to do that. So I'm zooming, I will not be clicking on the 0, because it works with like very, very, very precise scale, I can say. To be able to use this option, like, or to click on 0 or something, we can use different options. For example, these options here on the downside, do you have similar to them? You have grid snap, ortho, planar. If I turn on the grid snap, I will be able to like, then it works like a magnet. So the points will be created only on the 0, 0, 0, or like the grid that you want it to be created on. Let's say I created my first point at 0, 0. Then I want to create my second point. Now I have another option here that's called ortho. You have this ortho mode. And if I activate this mode, I will only be able to create vertical or horizontal lines. I will not be able to put any point in between, or like with an angle, with a different angle. It will keep it only like with 90 degree. The shortcut for ortho is F8 on the keyboard. So if I click F8 now, the ortho mode is deactivated, and now I can create whatever angle I want. So yeah, these are most basic options that we use here to be able to work like precisely. This is my first point about being about the program being like having its own coordinates and works with very, very precise values. So
yeah, that's different. It's different, but I mean, I could see how very precise.
Yeah. For example, if you worked, I don't know, like for example, SketchUp, it does not have this preciseness. I think you get somehow lost with the object, so you don't really care what is the coordinates of your objects, and so. But here it's like very organized, or better in this situation.
Wow.
Okay. The second feature I like about Rhino is this command panel here. It's like, I can say it's the way that you can speak with the program, or like talk to it, and it talks to you through this command panel here. It's also a feature that is similar to AutoCAD. For example, I can put here whatever command I want. For example, yeah, I say box and I say enter. So through this command panel, it gives me like the sub commands or like sub options that I can use creating my exterior command. So my box. So it's asking, do you want it diagonal, like create box with 2 points or with 3 points or so or so? Let's say 3 points. So it's asking you start of edge. I'm gonna go to one top view. Just randomly place 1 point. Then end of edge. This is, again, wherever I want. Then the 3rd point that you give it something. Then after that, the height. So this is how it created my box using 3 points, and only like using this command panel up there and showing or viewing what it asks me and apply what I want from it. So this is.
Does that circumvent anything on the those the icons on the left? So does that, like, is there like a box command down on the left? It looks like
Yeah.
does that do the same type of thing though, right? But it's just a
Exactly.
different way of getting to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. Again, it's not. Yeah, the command panel shows you like a lot of options, maybe with some maybe examples here. The end of this class, today's course can show how this would be helpful. That was the command panel up there. We had like view here to these options. Then the toolbar on the left is, as you said, the fastest way to reach commands, which are like the basic commands. There are, I think, like I believe more than these ones that you can reach from this panel here. So it's divided, for example, all the commands that are like related to surface work. You can view them here. So create a loft, create a sweep, create something. So all of these will be here. Then the mesh and surface are 2 different terms. We're gonna see them. The curves, everything that is related to curve. It's also like organized this way, but for now, these ones are like the most important or the most used ones. They are here on this quick access toolbar on the left. You can work with anything at the same time, like any kind of thing.
Okay.
So these are not like modes, like working modes or work sets. These are also like different groupings of different orders. For example, you want to set view to a perspective view to a back view. It's just like different commands or orders that you use, but grouped in a different way. So when we are in the standard, you can have, like, as I said, the most important commands. So you have them here, and you have the basics like save file, open file, print. You have them here. So different rendering or showing, viewing situations or like cases. But then if you want to like to be specific about something, so you just show only the tools that matters for you. So the solid tools, now if I'm working with solid, I can like use this more. Then the surface tool, I can use this more. Then I can just go back to the standard. It's not like a different mode, it's just the shortcuts that it shows you.
Okay, that's interesting. So you can work between solid and mesh, and you don't have to transform or.
Exactly.
Wow, nice. That's a treat.
Yep. So yeah, these are the panels here on the left and on the top. Then here on the right, the organization panel, I call it. So it organizes your work, and you can see that you have a properties tab. Let me take this here. So if you come to the properties tab, you can, for now, because I have no objects selected, so it just shows you general properties about your work. So it's saying you are now in the perspective view, the width of the view, the angle of the camera or source. But if I choose my box, it will show that the type of this object is closed extrusion or like box, basically, and other information about it, like its layer, its color, its print width, if there are like curves or like lines you want to print them, like all of that is in the properties. If you want also like more details, you can click here and it shows all the like the mathematical or not your very like use or important, but sometimes you need to check if your object is closed or not, for example. Does it work on a 3D printer or not? So this is where sometimes it matters. The next tab here, it's the layers. This is how you like organize your work. So you have like by default you have like these 5 and the default layer. And because I created my object and this layer was chosen, the default, there is this tick here. So my object now is held in this layer. If let's say I want to choose this one, now I change my current layer, it's called the current, and I create another box. So my box now is red because it's created inside the next or the other layer. So this is a way that you organize your work. Some of the, for example, in my like architectural work, I use this a lot. The walls I put them in one layer, the doors in one layer. So if I want only to work with the doors, I just hide everything else. So you just hide it here, and you can work with the layer that you want. So this is also a way that you organize your work in.
Nice, I like that. But with the default layer, is that kind of the background layer, or is that?
It's not actually a background or a default. You can just rename it as you want. So I can call it my name.
It's like layer 0 almost.
Yeah. Of course, you can also like change the colors of layers, and so you can control how they are viewed and so. There are like other options you can control about layer. For example, here the last one is material. So if you have a rendered view, which is not very powerful in Rhino, the renderer in Rhino is not very powerful, but they add different plugins like V-Ray or Inkscape or something that creates good renders. But then you can control the materials in those renders from like also this place here, which the material of the door layer can be wood, for example. I will show like before to start with the commands here and how to create objects and what kind of objects does Rhino deal with. I'll just show you how to navigate using this program, how to move around with it. So to move the view, like, or to pan it, you drag with the right mouse click, and you can pan it. If it's a 2D view, for example, this top or the front or the right, these are 2D views. So you can just using the right click and dragging. So now you can move around.
And then perspective does it for all perspectives. In
the perspective, it rotates if you click it by itself. But if you want to pan also in the perspective, you click Shift on your keyboard along with the right click drag.
Oh, nice. And it locks it side to side or up and down. Okay. Very cool.
So that's the panning for a view. This is.
Does the wheel, like a wheel click, come in handy for any of this too?
The wheel we use like for zoom in or out. The click gives you some options if you want like save, quick things, but I'm not using them a lot. Zoom extends, like it shows you everything. If you're lost in somewhere and like for example, a lot of times you get lost in the view like this and you don't know where to go. So just mid click and then zoom extends and it shows all of your objects. So
Zoom extents.
it extends like
Oh wow.
these are, it zooms about everything that you have in the.
It brings it onto screen.
Uh-huh.
So you could, yeah, because that's happened to me where I've gotten lost in like when you first started, I have no idea where my object has gone, and it's so maybe it's in outer space at some point.
Yeah.
You know?
So for example, if I created an object here, if I click zoom extents, it will just like, it kind of imagines something that surrounds all of my works and just zoom around it. So this is it. Or if you have some object specific and you want to zoom on it, so if it is selected, you can say zoom, enter, and from these options here, you can go to selected. So it zooms on only the objects that you have selected.
That's a good one to know.
Yep. And yeah, because it's in command panel, if you just click Z, enter, it just takes the zoom command. So
okay.
You can say all, which is similar to extents. So
if you just put in all, it'll show you everything all of it.
Yeah. Or it asks you like, I mean, if I choose all, so it asks you, do you want like the extents or the selected? If you have all selected, then if I say selected, it will say no objects are selected now. But if I say Z, enter, and I say all selected, so all of the views will zoom on like my selected object. These views also, like, they have these beside their names, they have this small triangle here that shows different options. So for example, in the perspective, if I want to show it differently, I can say shaded. So just change the viewing.
Oh, okay.
If I say rendered, it will show blank because I don't have like materials or so, but it's not very powerful rendered, as you said. So we have ghosted, shows transparency, technical, so it shows the hidden lines as pointed lines. Technical, sometimes it's useful. And the artistic.
Yeah, I hit that one. That took a second to render.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh shoot. I think I know.
Not very, even it's not very beautiful, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I use the Arctic a lot, this one.
Okay.
Especially when working with 3D, because it creates like these shades in between objects and like creates kind of solid surface like on the 0, 0, so it drops shades. So I believe like while playing with mass or like creating 3D model, this one's best way to view it. You can change that from the display options. It gets you like, there's a lot of things to modify and change here, but under Arctic, there should be some place that shows, do you want to show curves or not? You can like change this set of your view if you want it from like bottom view, left view, something 2-point perspective, isometric, for looking from different angle. So these different options, any one of them, you can choose it as you want. And of course, if you want to work with only one, for example, if I choose only the perspective, double click, it becomes the big one. I use that a lot. And double click again, then you're back to the clip. And of course, another handy, useful thing that you can drag and resize these views. So it's just like play with them as much as you want. So this is also useful because when working with Grasshopper, it it creates this panel and it covers like part of your screen, so you need to take all of your other objects on the side. So